Before the night ends in a way neither of them expected, make sure you're still here. Subscribe to Emo Saga for grounded, sensual romances where every moment builds naturally, and every ending makes sense. The parking lot is quieter than the venue. That's the first thing I notice as we step outside. The way the noise falls away all at once. Music muffled behind brick walls. Laughter dissolving into distance. The night air cool and steady, like it's pressing pause on everything that came before. I stop beside his car because that's where he stops. Not because I'm unsure where to go. Because I'm not ready to leave yet. Thanks for staying late, he says, unlocking the car with a soft beep. I know these things can drag on. They can, I agree. But tonight wasn't bad. He glances at me, a small smile flickering across his face. No, it wasn't. We've known each other for a while. Not closely, just enough to be comfortable. Mutual friends. Shared events. Familiar conversations that never crossed a line, but also never felt completely empty. He's always been steady. The kind of man who doesn't fill silence just to avoid it. I've always noticed that. He opens the driver's door, then pauses with one hand resting on the frame. Doesn't get in. Doesn't rush. Instead, he turns slightly toward me, leaving the door open between us like an unspoken option. You heading home now? He asks. Yes, I say automatically. Then after a beat. Eventually. The honesty surprises me with how calm it feels. He nods like he understands exactly what I mean. Same, he replies. We stand there, the car door open, the interior light casting a soft glow over the pavement. It creates a small pocket of brightness in the dark lot, like a boundary we've stepped into without noticing. I tuck my hands into my jacket pockets. The air has cooled enough that my skin feels sensitive, aware. You cold? He asks. A little, I admit. He shifts closer, not into me, not yet. Just close enough that his body blocks the breeze. The difference is immediate. Subtle. Intentional. Better? He asks. Yes, I say quietly. I don't move away. Neither does he. This should be the end. Polite goodbye. A promise to text. But the stillness stretches. Comfortable. Deliberate. I like nights like this, he says after a moment. Why? Because they don't feel rushed, he replies. People leave when they're ready. Not because they're supposed to. The words land closer to home than I expect. I don't like being hurried, I admit. I know, he says. I look at him. How? Because you always linger, he replies. Just a little. Like you're checking in with yourself before you go. I smile faintly. That obvious? Only if someone's paying attention. The admission settles between us. Not heavy, just real. I shift my weight, turning slightly toward him. The movement brings us closer without either of us stepping forward. Our arms brush lightly. An accident. But neither of us reacts right away. Sorry, I say automatically. He shakes his head. You're fine. His voice is low. Steady. His hand lifts. Not abruptly, not claiming, and settles at my hip. Warm. Grounding. Not gripping. Just there. The contact sends a quiet awareness through me. Not shock. Recognition. I don't step back. He stills immediately, reading me. If that's not okay, he begins. It's okay, I say. The certainty in my voice surprises me. He doesn't move his hand. Doesn't tighten it either. He's waiting. The parking lot feels very far away now. The car door remains open beside us, light spilling out like it's framing the moment. This feels different, I say softly. Yes, he agrees. But not sudden. No, I reply. It's been building. Quietly. That makes him exhale slowly, like something has just aligned. You can tell me to move, he says. I know. And you haven't. No. I glance down briefly, noticing the contrast between his hand and the fabric of my jacket. The steadiness of it. The restraint. You don't rush, I say. No, he replies. I like knowing when something is a choice. And this? I ask. He meets my gaze. This is a choice. I lean in slightly. Not enough to collide. Enough to answer. His hand stays at my hip, now clearly intentional. The contact feels earned rather than impulsive. A car passes at the far end of the lot, headlights sweeping briefly over us before moving on. The world continues. We don't. This was supposed to be a goodbye, I say quietly. Yes. And now? Now it feels like a pause, he replies. One we don't rush through. The phrasing steadies me. I reach up, resting my hand lightly against his forearm. Not pulling him closer, just acknowledging him. His breath changes, slow, deep. You're very calm, he says. So are you. Because this doesn't feel like a mistake, he adds. No, I agree. It doesn't. We stand there, close the open car door beside us like a held breath. I don't want this to be complicated, I say. It doesn't have to be, he replies. We don't have to decide anything tonight. That matters. He shifts slightly, angling his body more toward mine. The movement draws me in without pressure. His thumb presses once lightly at my hip. A question. I don't move away. Is this okay? He asks again. Yes, I say. And I mean it. He doesn't kiss me. Not yet. Instead, his forehead rests briefly against mine. A quiet, intimate gesture that feels heavier than a kiss would. The proximity makes my breath hitch. You don't have to stay, he murmurs. I know. But you are. Yes. The night stretches quietly around us. And standing there, with his hand still at my hip and the car door still open, I realize something with surprising clarity. This didn't come out of nowhere. Didn't turn strange. It became intimate because neither of us pretended the moment was smaller than it was. I meet his eyes again. Don't let go yet, I say softly. He doesn't. The parking lot remains still. The car waits. And whatever comes next hasn't been decided yet. But it's already begun. The open car door stays where it is. That's the strange part. Not that his hand is still at my hip. Not that neither of us has stepped back. But that the door itself remains open, light spilling out onto the pavement like a quiet witness. Neither of us seems in a hurry to close it. I don't usually linger like this, I say softly. He doesn't look away from me. Neither do I. But we are. And the longer we stay, the more intentional it feels. His hand remains warm at my hip, steady, not roaming, not tightening. It's the kind of touch that feels deliberate rather than impulsive, like he's chosen exactly where to be and has no interest in pretending otherwise. You can tell me to move, he says again quietly. I meet his gaze. I know. But you haven't. No. The simplicity of it settles between us. A breeze passes through the lot, cool against my neck. I shiver without meaning to. His hand shifts instinctively, sliding just a fraction closer around my side, pulling me in enough that my body is shielded by his. Not possessive. Protective. You okay? He asks. Yes, I reply. Better, actually. He smiles faintly at that. We stand like that for a moment, close, grounded, aware of the space we're sharing without trying to define it too quickly. I like that this doesn't feel rushed, I say. Me too, he replies. I don't want it to. That matters more than any promise could. He closes the car door gently, the click soft but final. The interior light goes out, leaving us under the parking lot lamps instead. The shift feels symbolic, though neither of us says it out loud. Now there's no obvious reason to stay, which means staying is a choice. Do you want to walk for a minute? He asks. Just around the block. I consider it. Not because I'm unsure, but because I'm checking in with myself the way he noticed I always do. Yes, I say. Idol. We walk side by side, close enough that our arms brush occasionally. Sometimes our hands touch, brief, accidental, then not so accidental when neither of us pulls away right away. The street is quiet, mostly residential. Porch lights glowing softly, windows lit in places where other nights are unfolding quietly. I've wanted to talk to you like this before, he admits after a few steps. I glance at him. Like this. Without a reason, he says. Without an agenda. What stopped you? He considers it. Timing. And not wanting to assume. I nod. I appreciate that. So do I, he says. Now. We stop near a low brick wall, the sound of traffic distant enough to feel removed. This feels like another decision point, I say. Yes, he agrees. It does. He doesn't move closer. Doesn't step away. He's leaving the space open again. I don't want this to be complicated, I say. It doesn't have to be, he replies. We don't have to turn it into something heavy tonight. And you're okay with that? Yes, he says without hesitation. I'd rather let something build than force it to mean more than it does yet. That steadiness is what finally tips something inside me. I step closer. Not rushed. Not tentative. Just close enough that my body lines up with his naturally. His hand finds my hip again, familiar now, welcome. This time there's no pause, no question, just confirmation. His thumb presses lightly once. I lean in. He kisses me then. Slow. Deliberate. Nothing rushed or taken. It feels like a continuation of the moment rather than a leap into something new. My hand rests against his chest, fingers curling slightly into the fabric of his jacket. The contact grounds me, keeps me present. When we part, it's because we choose to, not because the moment breaks. That felt. I trail off. Right, he says quietly. I smile. Yes. Exactly. We lean against the brick wall together, shoulders touching. The closeness now relaxed rather than charged. I'm glad I followed you out, I admit. So am I, he replies. I was hoping you would. I arch an eyebrow. You were. Yes, he says. But I didn't want to make it obvious. I noticed anyway, I say. He smiles. I figured you might. After a while, we walk back toward the car. This time, there's no uncertainty in our steps. At the driver's side, he pauses. I don't want this to feel like it only exists in parking lots, he says. It doesn't, I reply. But I like how it started. So do I, he agrees. He opens the door, then stops again. Can I see you again? He asks. Properly. Not just late nights and goodbyes. Yes, I answer easily. I'd like that. When? Coffee, I suggest. Daytime. He smiles. I was hoping you'd say that. We exchange numbers, unhurried, unceremonious. Just another step that feels natural instead of dramatic. I'll text you tomorrow, he says. I'll look forward to it, I reply. Before he gets in, he leans in once more, pressing a brief, warm kiss to my lips. Nothing lingering, nothing demanding. Just reassurance. Then he steps back. Drives away. The next day, coffee feels easy. Bright. Normal in the best way. We sit across from each other. Sunlight spilling across the table. Discovering that what felt grounded at night holds up just as well in the day. You're exactly the same, he says. So are you, I reply. That's a relief, he smiles. It is. Weeks pass. The connection grows, not dramatically, not urgently. It unfolds in conversations, shared errands, quiet moments that don't need to prove anything. And sometimes when we're saying goodbye again outside a restaurant near a curb beside a car, his hand finds my hip. Not because it has to, but because we've learned that some touches are choices. One evening much later, we're leaving another event together. Different place. Different night. He opens his car door and pauses. I stop beside him without thinking. He glances at me, amused. Habit. I smile. Choice. Some moments don't change your life because they're dramatic. They change it because they make sense. Ours began with an open car door, a quiet pause, and a hand that stayed because I let it. And from there, everything followed naturally.